So, it's been a hot minute since I've talked about Dungeons and Dragons. October of last year. As a result, I've been thinking, I want to talk about D&D again. And I thought, the best way to do that is to talk to you about my favorite D&D live show that I watch. If you know D&D live shows, then you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm going to talk about those nerdy-ass voice actors that sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. Critical Role. This is just mostly me gushing about it and hopefully making you able to, want to watch it. But before I get into that, I need to get into a better attire. Give me 1 second. Man, the only clothing that I own, and my brother bought it for me, but he bought it one size too small. But anyways, Critical Role, for those that don't know, is essentially what I just said. A bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors sit around playing Dungeons and Dragons every Thursday night. And you're just like, okay, what's appealing about it? And I would say the same thing, and I did. When I first heard about D&D back in college, well, actually I heard about it before, but I originally, when I started hearing, started being interested about D&D, started hearing about this game where, these voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, okay, that seems interesting. Granted, this was right around the time that they started streaming. And it was a moment where I was like, okay, I'll try it. And the first couple of episodes, I was just like, I don't know if I like this. And I stopped watching it for like a month or two, and then I started up again, and then I stopped and started up again, and then by the time that they got to what is known as one of the best arcs in the actual series, the Briarwood arc, that's when it started hooking me. Because it is so good. I don't know the best way to explain how good it is. It's good. And it's not just because it's like D&D, and I love D&D, especially at the time that I really started getting into it. It was about the same time that I really started getting into Critical Role. But, that being said, it is crazy the amount, there's a lot that I need to talk about for it. So, first off, let me tell you who's in the cast. Because there is a cast of 7 players. There used to be 8, but it's a complicated thing. If you want to look it up, do so. But of the 7 players and the DM, you have probably heard their voices before. I'm not going to say that you haven't. If you have watched anime, played video games, watched any cartoons, hell, even if you watched live action, you have heard of these people. You have heard their voices, and you at the very least may know them, especially if you watched anime dubbed. So let's get into it. 1, there's Marisha Ray, Liam O'Brien, Taliesin Jaffe, Ashley Johnson, Sam Riegel, Laura Bailey, and Travis Willingham. Those are the players. The DM, the man with the best fucking hair that I've ever seen, Matthew Mercer, is the person that essentially tells the world. So, it is awesome because 1, they're all professional voice actors, so they're actors and they know what to be doing, and they're good at improv, which is great for D&D. As a result, you have a very, very solid group of people that are able to 100% immerse you into the world. And Matthew Mercer, you are a good fucking DM. It's very hard to find a good DM, and you are a good one. Being able to put your players into that world, make them freak out if you just stop saying shit, being like, and quiet, maybe before the noise, and then we go in. it is crazy. The backstories of the characters are interesting. You have characters that are so fucking flushed out that it is crazy. And then you have the world of Exandria, the place where you are playing in. Fucking it is crazy. Like, trying to explain Critical Role in a coherent manner and why I like it is so difficult. Like, I tried to figure out this week how I was going to explain why I like Critical Role, and it does have to deal with the story, the people, but at the end of the day, the best way I can explain it is that the people, it actually is just the people and their willingness to accept people, as well as just there's just a group of fucking friends playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it is great. It is fantastic, and it makes me happy. It's nice and relaxing sometimes. Other times it's emotion, a lot of emotion. It has made me cry. This show has made me cry. I'm not afraid to admit it. It has made me cry. It has also helped me out and helped me during situations like it's a show that is just quite literally so good, and I want to emphasize this. Starting Critical Role, it's a daunting task. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that if you want to watch Critical Role from Campaign 1 all the way to Campaign 2, and I'm talking about like the one-shots as well that are in between that happened after Campaign 1, as well as the ones sprinkled here and there, as well as everything. Like, I'm telling you this now, it's longer than One Piece. And there's a reason. Because right now, I think if you watch One Piece, it will take about a month or so. I'm not 100% sure. I saw like a statistic at the beginning of quarantine. I was like, hey, we're in quarantine. If you want to go watch One Piece, this is how long it's going to take. And I know that from when episode 100 of the first campaign came out, they had they actually have a group of people that is Critical Stats that for no charge, they decide that they wanted to stat out put in the stats. That website, Critical Stats, if you go to that website, you will find so much information on everything of Critical Role. Like, it is bonkers. Like, you can go down to like how many roles there were in a game, what the roles were, everything. And during episode 100, they had a actual stat that had like very interesting facts. At episode 100 of Critical Role, the first campaign, if you were to watch it non-stop, it would take 13 days. 13 days non-stop, because it was and I think if you were to do the same thing with One Piece several months ago, I think it was roughly the same if you skipped all the fillers. And I think it's relatively the same for Critical Role. There's one episode, like episode 12 I think it is, during the first campaign, that why was it numbered? Yeah, but it is a lot. It's also a lot. I don't know what else to say other than it's a lot. Like, I am understanding that you, as people, as human beings that have time that you don't want to spend on 115 episodes of nerdy ass voice actors sitting around playing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, that you do not want to watch this, it's understandable. If you do watch it and get into it, I would say, one, maybe play it back at ×2 speed. Maybe it would be a little weird. Or just put it in the background. They do have it in podcast form. The first couple of, I want to say 20 episodes of the first campaign are not that great audio-wise, but it gets better. It is a commitment. It's a commitment, and I can't even say, well, if you don't want to watch the 115 episodes of Campaign 1, you can start with Campaign 2. But then Campaign 2 has been going on longer than Campaign 1 on Twitch. Like, it's 127 episodes as of last Thursday. And, ooh, that was a cliffhanger. And I don't know how else to say it. Like, right now, if you don't want to watch it because you're just like, I would say wait until Campaign 3, but that might be 2 years from now. Like, it's a lot. But, I'm just going to talk about the actual stories. I'm going to walk off screen and come back on. So, the stories of Campaign 1 and Campaign 2. Campaign 1 follows the adventures of Vox Machina, a group that is essentially, you start off halfway through their story. Like, I'm talking about, like, the points where Campaign 1 starts, they were all around level 9 to 10 and 11, around there. So, it's very different starting in the middle of a story, but I will say, if you don't want to watch Campaign 1 right away, you can, and this is true, they're putting out comic books for Campaign 1 as Vox Machina Origins, which tells the origin story of the home campaign. Because at the beginning, they just started playing on their own, and they were just a group that was like, okay, we can play D&D when we come home whenever we get the chance, because they're all busy. And they got approached by Felicia Day to come on their Twitch channel and play the game. Granted, they said it, not I. They thought no one was going to watch them. They're like, why would anyone watch us? Like, what? No, people aren't going to watch a group play Dungeons and Dragons for 4 hours. No, that's crazy. They were wrong. They were very wrong. I think the first stream had 4,000 people. Fast forward to Campaign 2, which had 100,000 for that first one. It's crazy. But, yeah. Campaign 1 follows Vox Machina through their adventures. That story is more like a more fantasy, like archetypical fantasy, where it's just like the heroes go off to face the evil bad, and it was definitely, there wasn't really too many shades of gray in that story, which some people really love, and other people are like, it's kind of boring. But you will get to know and love all the characters, and it's very funny. It's absolutely funny. I've cried laughing and cried because of emotions. Like, it is a good amount. Like, the characters as well that are all played by the cast. You have Vax'ildan and Vex'ahlia, the twins, the rogue and the ranger, and then multi-class later on, but that's a surprise. No, I shouldn't have said that if it was a surprise. Early on, they are Vex'ahlia and Vax'ildan twins. I just said that again. There's Scanlan Shorthalt. The twins are half-elves. Scanlan Shorthalt, the gnome bard. The human gunslinger Percival. Frederickstein von Musil Quasley de Lorolo III of Whitestone. He has a very long name, and I'm surprised that, I think I got that right. Did I get that right? Percy, the human gunslinger fighter. The human gunslinger fighter. Then there's Keyleth, the half-elf and druid. Then there's Grog Strongjaw, the Goliath barbarian, and then Pike Trickfoot, the gnome cleric. Like, those are the characters you're going to follow, and you follow them as they deal with a town that's been taken over vampires, going through the Underdark, fighting dragons, going through the plains to complete a thing, and then fighting a god at the end. Like, it's a very good thing. Like, it's good. I want to have people watch it and love it. And then it's then the one-shots that are afterwards that, whew, those are the feels. They hit you right here in the heart. Campaign 2 afterwards takes place 20 years after Campaign 1. And doesn't have any characters from Campaign 2 very early on. Like, I think it's way into the future where characters show up that have been from Campaign 1. But Campaign 2 follows Caleb Widowgas, the human wizard, Beauregard, Lionette, the human monk, Ford, the half-orc warlock. Then there's Not the Brave, the goblin rogue, Jester, the tiefling cleric. Then there's Yasha, the Aasimar barbarian. And then there's Mollymock Tealeaf, the tiefling blood hunter. But then also later on there's Caduceus Clay, the Furbolg cleric. I'm not gonna, you'll find out who there was a death, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say whose character dies, but you can probably find out. Their story is very different than the first one, because they all meet at a carnival. It starts off at level 2 with the second campaign, where everyone's really weak and squishy, and literally is just like, I have 3 spells for the whole day. Cantrip. Or like, I can make one attack, and it's not great. And it definitely takes a different turn, because they're not all like, oh yeah, we are the good guys, we're going to beat the evil. Like, the first campaign was definitely more geared towards normal archetypal fantasy, while the second campaign is more realistic in the sense that there's gray moralities. You're not 100% sure if what you're doing is the right thing. And if you are doing the right thing, it's not 100% like good. Like, you're doing the right thing because it's the right thing, and it's not 100% good in that sense. It's very awesome. Like, the characters go ahead and, fight demons or help a village out, but then join a criminal organization and do some smuggling, and then they go out on the open seas and become pirate. Like, there is a very different feel, because Vox Machina, you knew where each of the characters lied on the alignment scale. While the Mighty Nine, you think you know what their goals are, but then it gets twisted around on you at points where you're just like, oh. And, like, people change their feel on certain subjects, and it's really awesome. And go watch it. It left on a fucking cliffhanger the last episode, which it usually does. Matthew Mercer. Why? Yeah, but it's definitely both of them. It will take a long time if you want to watch the entire series. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It will take fucking forever. Like, if you had started watching this about 3 years ago, it would be easy. But no. No matter what, it's gonna take a fucking shit ton of your time to go through. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that's not gonna do that. So, yeah, it's an awesome show. Go. The community is great. If you ignore certain people that are way too crazy about it. Also, I will say, if you get into D&D after watching Critical Role, good. There's one thing that I want to say. Do not, and I repeat, do not expect your game to be like Critical Role. People have done this. Do not expect it. It's great that you are getting into D&D, but do not expect to have your home game be like a Twitch stream that has a company behind it, that has the DM who is a professional voice actor and has been playing D&D for 20 years, to have your DM be exactly like Matthew Mercer, who probably just started playing maybe within the last couple of weeks, because they also got into D&D. Do not be that asshole that thinks that it's going to be exactly like Critical Role. It's not. You have to find a game that suits your tastes. Do not expect to be like Critical Role. That is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Well, I guess I'll just get up and come back on screen to end the video. How do you want to do this? Anyways, that has been the end of the video. I hope you like it. This was essentially just me gushing about Critical Role for probably 30 minutes at this point. If you did like it, go ahead, watch it. Go watch it. Put it in the background. It will be interesting. If you eventually catch up, you'll be able to watch the live streams. Maybe by the time that you catch up, Campaign 3 will start. You know, if they all die. So, yeah. If you like me and you like my personality, I do other videos that are more geared towards manga, and sometimes me randomly talking about a metal album. If you did like this video of me telling you about Critical Role, go ahead, leave that like button. You know, if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to talk about Critical Role, I will talk to you about it in the comments. Do it. If you didn't like it and you want me to just keep on talking about manga, that's fine. Hit that dislike button. It's fine. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back to playing Bravely Default, because that's a good game. Bravely Default 2, though it's the third game of the series. Yes. I hope you have a lovely day, week, what have you. Read manga if you want to read manga. Play D&D if you want to play D&D. Just go out and have fun, but do it safely, especially nowadays. We're almost out of this pandemic. Almost out of this pandemic. Okay. Bye.